Happy Tuesday, y'all. It's July 27th, 2021. And it's right around 8:30 in the morning. And, this morning I couldn't help get the thought of Occam's razor out of my head and what it means currently compared to what it has meant for me along my road to waking up, to accepting that there are no coincidences, that things definitely are not as they appear, and that we've got a lot more power than most people realize to affect change on this reality. And I mean that not only in an actionable mode or perspective. I also mean that from a subconscious awareness perspective. Sorry, I digress. Occam's razor, right? So 9/11, something didn't add up. At the time of 9/11, I was working for I'm pretty sure it was for Canon at that point, although it might have been for this subcontractor, Xerox. And anyway, I was between the VA and the Department of Labor when I heard Howard Stern say, "Uh-oh, must have been terrorists. I don't want to say it, but must have been terrorists." And they were talking about the plane hitting one of the towers. I'm pretty sure it was Tower 1. Whichever one got hit first. That's what they were talking about. So there I was, thinking, okay, Stern has been known to play jokes before. But then I heard the tone of his voice. And just from the feel of everything, I immediately rushed in. And cutting to the chase, going from the gristle to the bone, if you will, during a short period of time, I went from, what the fuck? How could this happen? To, this didn't happen the way they're telling us. Because, see, the first thing I heard about was liquefied pools of steel being reported by government workers that were actually shown on live television for the world to see. And I knew right away jet fuel doesn't fucking liquefy steel. And when I watched the demolition, and that's what it was, the demolition of towers 1, 2, and 7, I realized that's what I was watching. Almost immediately when they were coming down, I could see the puffs of smoke that apparently other people didn't see. I had seen multiple different videos that didn't show anything hitting the towers, just explosions. But for some reason, those quickly disappeared off the net. And so did the people that were posting them. They just seemed to disappear too. And so that led me to believe Occam's razor, we were being lied to about 9/11. And that was before I even considered some evil fucking beast that exists within our reality called the military industrial complex, even though I was working for the motherfuckers back when I was a kid. Hadn't even heard of that back then. That's what really caused 9/11. There was an orgy of evidence pointing towards terrorists. I mean, when I say orgy, I'm talking somehow they didn't find any motors or any parts of any real major parts of the plane per se, but they did manage to find a shitload of fucking terrorist IDs. Okay. And 9/11 was, for a lot of people, the original false flag. And false flags are generated to control the narrative and some way destroy our rights. And how did 9/11 accomplish that? Ever hear of the Patriot Act? The Patriot Act allows the government to know everything you put out on this invisible space, this world that doesn't exist. It sure does. Oh, look, a little baby bird's hopping around. Must be hurt. Ain't flying too good. Oh, there he goes. See, and that's the thing. You can't just explain 9/11 away. There are too many questions that they don't want to answer. And when I say they, I'm referring to the fucking masters of the puppets that are controlling us. So why do I bring this up on this fine, beautiful morning? Because when PCR tests are being recalled by the FDA for failure to be able to distinguish between the flu and COVID, that's fact. Now the CDC is recalling them. So where are all these? If they couldn't tell between the COVID and the flu, and 5 universities, 5 major U.S. universities, another freaking study that was never allowed to be out on the internet, 5 major universities declared that 1,500 supposed confirmed samples from the CDC of COVID, not one single sample proved to be COVID. They were either influenza A or B. Okay, let's add another detail to this mix. You know that the jabs were, the applications for the freaking, what do you call it, the patents for the jabs, do you know that they were applied for before the pandemic even happened? Yeah, the applications were filed in the fall of 2019. Sorry, for some reason I went to 1999. End of the world kind of shit, you know? But yeah, in 2019, and luciferase, which is one of the components of the jab, of all of the jabs, actually has a patent application that contains the numbers 060606. That is a fact. And you're starting to hear about graphene. Pay attention to graphene. Graphene is also included in the jabs. Yep. It's a non-ferrous metal. Well, it's a non-ferrous conductive material, which means it conducts, but it's not really metal the way you think it is. Seriously, research graphene. So what does this all add up to? They can't detect it, but they're still pushing these variants. But if they can't detect the freaking original, how are they pushing the variants? Because if they can't detect the original, how are they detecting the variants? And why is it that every case where a person died and this supposed faulty PCR test detected anything that was COVID related, they got labeled COVID. Because, see, there was money to be made. In both cases, in 9/11 and now, there's money to be made in death. And there's control to be achieved, obtained. Control through chaos. That is their fucking mantra. And let me tell you something, as somebody that got awakened to the chaos that they weren't even aware that their life had become. I'm telling you, when you add this all up, it's a lot worse than even a lot of people that have been down the rabbit hole could imagine. This has always been about control. And guess what, kids? The reason why they keep pushing the variants, the mutations, the reason why they're pushing this shit is because once the emergency ends, the emergency authorization for these jabs end. And by the way, in reality, they didn't have the authority to freaking to create these emergency jabs. They didn't have the authority in reality because, see, in order to get emergency FDA approval for a jab, you need to first prove that no other treatment or cure exists. And I got a clue for you. Ivermectin, HCQ. There's a reason when you apply Occam's razor to this, you see it plain as day. Why would they push against these so hard? Because there's no money to be made in these drugs that have been around for 70 or 80 years. You know why there's hardly any reports from African countries of COVID? Because they've been using HCQ for malaria and all kinds of shit for like 60, 70 years over there. Interestingly enough, though, 5 such presidents were assassinated recently because I don't know. One of the things they all had in common is that they were against the freaking jabs. So, I don't know. When you add it up, it looks pretty fucking scary. You want to know why I pray? There you go. Hey, God. Oh, dear Lord. Thank you for another day. Lord, I got a mountain to freaking get over in the next week or so. Please, dear Lord, guide me. Help me get to where I need to be just in time, just when you need me to be there, dear Lord. Please, God, help me get through the waves that keep seeming to come at me head on. Help me to have the patience. Help me have the courage to do what I gotta do to get through this life that I didn't really choose to live. Please, dear God, protect and guide President Donald J. Trump, all the members of Q, the members of our military, the members of our law enforcement, and especially vets for child rescue, so that united with the good patriots of the world, we can put on the full armor of God, pick up our swords of light and truth, and one sound voice defeat the dark force of evil, continue to pray upon the children of the world once and for all. Amen. Hey, y'all have a great day. Goodbye. God bless. Stay safe. Later.